And good afternoon. Thanks for joining us on your MTN statewide news on this Monday. I'm Andrea Lutz. The Lone Star Fire in Yellowstone National Park near Old Faithful flared up to 1,000 acres over the weekend. That fire burning 3 miles south of Old Faithful near Shoshone Lake. It caused the closure of backcountry campsites and trails near the lake. Well, firefighters say warmer temperatures and gusty winds led to increased activity that caused the fire to spread. This in spite of wetting rains that soaked the park just last week. 49 people are working on this fire, and 2 additional engines arrived to support firefighters strengthening protection around historic Old Faithful buildings and key infrastructure, things like cell phone towers. The crews are not fighting the fire, but observing and standing by in case the direction of the fire changes and threatens the Old Faithful area. The Grand Loop Road from Old Faithful to West Thumb is open again, but firefighters warned the road could close again at any time if it is threatened by fire or heavy smoke. The Cinnabar fire that's been burning for about a week and a half in the Bitterroot Valley is still 0% contained. It's just under 2,000 acres. As the cold front came in, the fire became more active. Lolo National Forest officials say that it was active again just this afternoon, burning in the Ferret Creek area from the northeast towards the 2007 Sawmill fire scar. An unmanned aircraft system was deployed to collect some data, mapping it at about 1,955 acres. And the Bear Creek fire, the one that's burning near Dillon, has burned almost 12,000 acres. We want to let you know today that that fire is 85% contained. All right, we are going to check in now on the weather scene with our Ed McIntosh. Of course, Ed, we had a little bit of that cool down. Did it help anything?
Definitely saw a change in the temperatures yesterday, and that will continue today. But as we start getting into the rest of the week, warmer and windier conditions. Let's take a look at where temperatures are forecasted to go. Today is still staying on the cool side, but we're back to 70s and 80s tomorrow, which is back up to seasonal averages. And at the same time, well, the winds aren't much of a factor for today. A little bit of a northwest wind dragging in the cooler air. Check out the widespread winds, especially east of the Continental Divide tomorrow. Winds of 15 to 25 miles an hour on Tuesday, even stronger by Wednesday. All will raise the fire risk. So there will be red flag warnings pretty much all across eastern Montana, portions of northern Wyoming as we start getting into Tuesday, and especially hazardous weather on Wednesday. Take a closer look at the rest of the forecast coming up.
All right, thanks, Ed. Well, across the state today, Montana health authorities report another 82 confirmed COVID-19 cases. 27 of those are from Yellowstone County, 13 from Bighorn County. There are nearly 2,000 active cases today and 105 deaths so far in our state. 134 people are now hospitalized with COVID-19 in the state. The Montana Department of Health and Human Services confirmed the state's first known case of multi-system inflammatory syndrome in a Teton County child. The patient is between the ages of 10 and 19, received treatment at the Children's Hospital in Salt Lake City, but that patient has since been released and is back in Montana recovering from the illness. University of Montana President Seth Bodnar says that the university is looking at different ways to offset the loss of football and athletic revenue this fall due to the pandemic. He says the school is already trimming some spending, saying it's too early to know what those impacts will be. However, he warns further cuts, or at least shifting some of that funding, will likely follow. During his follow-up question and answer session with reporters, Bodnar says UM recognizes the cancellation of fall athletics is already presenting significant challenges, from ticket revenue to money students can earn during a Grizz game day. And he says athletics are incredibly important, but the university wants to prioritize the health and safety of student athletes, of course, and the broader community. And a University of Wyoming grad and Chief Master Sergeant in the U.S. Air Force is helping to put a new spin on the 1984 hit God Bless the USA. Sergeant Ryan Carson is the leader of the Air Force's Singing Sergeants, and the servicemen and women in the group were recruited by Lee Greenwood to sing the track with him in a new recording. Carson says it was a big privilege to get to sing the song with the original performer and a fun way to showcase civic pride.
You know, it's not about us. We're not rock stars, we're airmen. I take that with a big sense of pride that when I'm on a video, I'm not representing me, I'm not showcasing me, I'm showcasing the United States Air Force. It's kind of a humbling opportunity.
Well, the version of the song is being considered for a Country Music Award nomination for Musical Event of the Year. How cool is that? All right, coming up next on the Noon News on this Monday, we are taking a trip to the new Yellowstone Film Ranch, designed not only to draw in a bit of Hollywood, but also help boost the local economy. It's a story you don't want to miss. But of course, Ed is back in with a look at that statewide weather forecast.
Starts now with meteorologist Ed McIntosh.
Welcome back to the Noon News. Temperatures, there's a little bit of contrast here as we get into midday. Readings into the 40s and 50s here across much of western Montana, particularly chilly. Butte, Bozeman, Dillon, Anaconda, Deer Lodge area, and then a little warmer across the eastern plains, up to 71 now in Jordan, where at one point early in the morning, we were in the upper 30s to get the day started. But you do start to see some clearing across especially northern Montana, scattered showers elsewhere with a few clouds, and the winds have increased a bit. They're not particularly gusty today, but we will start to see some of these winds that are gusting up to 24, 25 miles an hour here as of midday really start to pick up with sustained winds into the 20s, gusts to maybe 30 to 40 miles an hour tomorrow afternoon. Air quality is much better here today as well across the area, as a lot of the wildfire smoke that we have been tracking is being dug by the strong upper level jet. Now the fires here in California are really taking a lot of that smoke and continuing to push it away from us. So here's where the smoke is right now. We're watching that continue to stay to the south. So these deep red shaded areas more through Utah, Colorado, well south of our area. As we start getting into the afternoon hours of today, we'll continue to see some clearing, but the cool air is already in play, and this low will start to dig in through Utah, Colorado, and start to leave our area. That'll clear the sky a little, but also let the temperatures drop a bit as we start getting into the evening hours. So we're off to a cool start first thing tomorrow. This disturbance moving in will get some of the wind going, but a high pressure ridge starts to build in. So today's going to be 50s, 60s to mid 70s for the highs. Tomorrow, we're talking a lot more 70s to low 80s for the afternoon highs, close to seasonal averages. And then the wind and the low humidity I mentioned at the top of the newscast will bring in those fire weather conditions, a red flag warning for tomorrow. And again, especially on Wednesday, the winds increase as the temperatures increase even more. We'll see some of the warmer readings hit the 80s to even 90s, especially in the eastern plains by the end of the day on Wednesday. Here's how it looks today. Temperatures anywhere from the 50s to low 60s in southwest Montana. We're starting to see some clearing. More sunshine across the eastern plains lets temperatures warm up into the mid 70s, upper 70s, perhaps in a few cases by late afternoon. Overnight temperatures mainly in the 40s to around 50 degrees, but Butte, Dillon, you could be dropping down into the 30s. Bozeman, you might be off to a pretty chilly start tomorrow. Then afternoon highs will start to rise under the clear skies and the low humidity for tomorrow, but bring in some of that wind later in the day, and then we start to watch for the possibility of some of those areas that will be impacted by fire weather conditions from that point on. Temperatures in the 60s around Kalispell and the Helena or Missoula for today, but then dropping off as we get into the next 48 hours. We'll look at temperatures warming up into the 80s pretty consistently. Even some low 90s are possible. Bozeman, Butte looking at temperatures from the 50s to low 60s all the way up into the mid 80s by Wednesday, and then possibly close to 90 around Friday afternoon in Bozeman. Not quite as warm in Butte, but still starting to warm up. Readings in the 70s across the eastern plains today will continue to move up from that point on. But keep in mind that for all of the areas east of the Continental Divide, use a lot of caution tomorrow into Wednesday. Wildfire conditions will continue to worsen. Here's a look at the weather. Back to you, Andrea.
All right, thanks, Ed, for that. As Hollywood slowly gets back to work, more and more filmmakers are looking to Montana as a potential production site. A new facility just south of Livingston may also bring a big economic boost to the region. MTN's Chris DeRose takes us behind the scenes at the Yellowstone Film Ranch.
Not far down a dirt road, just behind the Chico Hot Springs Resort, one is transported back in time, or maybe into a dream. If your dream, of course, is to become a cowboy.
You know, everybody grows up wanting to be a cowboy, right? To walk around this place is it's like a fantasy.
A fantasy, a dream. The Yellowstone Film Ranch was just that up until about a year ago for partners Colin Davis, Richard Gray, and Carter Baim. All three live in Montana, and all three love making movies. Carter's family even used to run the local drive-in in Livingston. That's where he first became hooked.
I guess I like movie magic, and I grew up at the drive-in theater watching movies from my house and seeing the big screen, and I just fell in love with it.
It's this love of movies that got them thinking, why aren't there more films being made here in Montana? Apparently, they weren't the only ones with this thought. Last year saw big tax incentives passed here in Montana to lure Hollywood into the mountains and generate money into the local economy.
The tax credit is designed to help locals. You only get the maximum credit, which is what a production is always looking for, if you hire locals. The locals are who prospers because you only get the maximum tax credit if you hire locals.
Thanks to that tax credit, movies about Montana can now be made in Montana, with money going into the pockets of Montanans. So if film crews are coming to town, why not give them a great facility and a versatile set?
It didn't make sense that Montana didn't have a place like this. So we tried to design a town that was super film friendly. We worked with LA designers that had done big films and architects that helped us build a town that wasn't a ghost town that's 100 years old and tiny and hard to film in. It was actually built to be big and practical for film sets.
It's a large jail cell, and in fact, all the buildings here are built on a larger scale. Even if you're doing a scene with 2 people inside here, there's going to be 10, 20, 30 people behind the camera. And if you don't have enough room for them in the building, well, Yellowstone Film Ranch has got you covered. You can expand the building.
So we tried to build the perfect set. So for an incoming filmmaker could walk in and go, oh, okay, this is a blank canvas, but I can see what I can do here.
The town is complete with a saloon, a stables, and a church. It could easily stand in for Dodge City or Tombstone, or maybe even a town that hasn't been created yet. In fact, writers, producers, and directors have all been making a lot of inquiries about the ranch, even now, in the age of COVID. But if a film was greenlit and came to the ranch, what would filming during the pandemic look like?
We have a number of projects now wanting to come in, but we have to do it when it's safe and everybody's working along.
We're working with a COVID team now, and the recommendation is that we will quarantine in advance. The entire cast and crew will have to be in a bubble.
Bubbling much the same way the NHL and NBA are currently doing, not to mention film projects that are starting up all around the world. And with Chico Hot Springs just a short walk from set, keeping all the elements of cast and crew contained might just work effectively here in Montana.
We had signed up 3 movies that were going to start, and then this hit, and of course they all went on hold. We believe that they're all 3 coming back when they're able to, and we're hoping that this fall or before the end of the year that we're going to be starting a new movie that will be starring people that everybody knows.
With safety measures in place, this labor of love could soon be home to some of Hollywood's biggest productions. But for Carter, it goes deeper than that. It's a connection to the old drive-in in Livingston and his dad.
My father was my best friend. I kind of did this in his honor, in a lot of ways. So I know he would be proud, and we're very proud of what we've done.
Reporting at Chico Hot Springs, Krista Rose, MTN News.
All of it in Montana. How exciting. The Montana Department of Commerce also says that a study they founded in between 2019 and 2020 says almost $48 million was brought into the state economy thanks to movies, television, and commercials. All right, your latest ag news is coming up right after the break.
Now, here's your Farm and Ranch report from the Montana Ag Network.
Hey everybody, it's time for your farm and ranch news. Well, the U.S. sheep industry will get a much needed shot in the arm this fall when the old Rancher's Lamb of Texas processing plant near San Angelo comes back online as Double J Lamb of Texas. The new owners are the Hasbrook family out of Alt, Colorado, who, by the way, also run Double J meat packing and Double J lamb feeders. Now, the news comes on the heels of the recent bankruptcy of Mountain States Rosin, which of course was acquired by JBS USA and has since been put on hold as the Department of Justice reviews the sale over antitrust concerns. On Sunday, though, I talked with Jeff Hasbrook about their decision to buy that old Rancher's Lamb of Texas plant, who told me with the loss of Mountain States Rosin, they just felt like they had to do something for their industry.
So we basically just said, in the lamb industry, we cannot wait. We've got to make a move now because that would put us 30 days behind if we waited. And if they added another 30 days on or something like that, you know, these lambs are getting bigger every day. So in our mind, we had to make a decision. Are we going to help the industry, help our customers, or are we just going to sit back and just, you know, let it ride and see what happens?
Now, the old Rancher's Lamb of Texas plant hasn't been operational since 2005, but the Hasbrook family hopes to have it up and running in a couple of months or so. And in addition to harvesting lambs, they'll actually be able to fabricate there, which is one of the main reasons they reached out about buying the plant in the first place.
Well, for us, you know, MSR was a harvest and a fab facility, so they could do it all. The new plant coming online, Colorado lamb processors, that should be coming online here, I would think, anytime soon, you know, within maybe the next month or two. All they can do is harvest. So for us, we kind of saw that that might be a little bit of an issue, you know, just because of what MSR did and what we need to do going forward. You know, yes, new lamb plants coming online in Colorado, but we just felt like we had to have the fabrication, and that was the main reason that we pretty much reached out to the old Rancher's Lamb facility, and we wanted to get that up and running.
In the meantime, the American Sheep Industry Association's Executive Director Peter Orwick says it's a bold and innovative step the Hasbrook family is taking in looking for a new way to support the U.S. sheep industry, and that the entire industry applauds their efforts and wishes them the best of luck in the future. Well, stay with us. We'll have more ag news right after this. The Association has launched its second annual Harvest Safety Week, which runs through this Friday, September 4th. During this virtual event, the National Grain Feed Association provides safety resources, particularly that are useful during the fall harvest, to NGFA members' inboxes each and every day. Participants can share safety materials, safety stories, and best practices by using hashtag Harvest20 and hashtag Harvest Safety Week with @NGFA on social media. By the way, this year NGFA is also introducing a couple of new safety products, a video on combustible dust and a safety tip sheet for protecting against entanglements inside those grain bins. In addition, NGFA members are also encouraged to share these type of materials with their farmer customers near and far. Well, that's a look at your farm and ranch news. Have a great day.
All right, definitely some changes is what we saw in the last couple days.
That's right. A lot cooler today, and a lot of people have been enjoying a bit of a cool down with a clearing sky. Once we start getting into the afternoon, a few showers will remain. Even a little bit of mountain snow is possible overnight, just above 9,000 feet. But temperatures begin to warm. Instead of 60s, all of a sudden we've got pretty consistently 70s, 80s, even a 90-degree reading here or there is possible, especially into the eastern plains later in the week.
Well, thanks for joining us on the new news. Everyone have a great Monday.